Hi, my name is Kumawang Jati. I'm going to be your tutor or your teacher for subject of English. It's called critical reading for to credit. I'm going to start with what is critical reading and the outline for our class today. Okay, let's start with the critical reading introduction. This is my email, kumawang.jati@gmail.com. If you have any questions later along the way for the semester, you can always contact me through this email. Any questions, anything related to our class, you can always email me. Now, the objective of meeting 1 and meeting 2 virtually will cover this following. What critical reading is, what previewing is. We're going to talk about previewing a little bit today, and it's going to be continued on the second meeting. How to preview a text and a book, why previewing is important, and practice previewing a book and a text. So this will cover in meeting 1 and meeting 2. Previewing is going to be more on meetings later. Yeah. So critical reading. Critical reading doesn't mean that you have to be agree or disagree with the text that you read, but it's a process. There are some strategies that you have to apply. The process of reading, look at the models, and then you have to ask questions later on to yourself. And there are some theories on that. So we're going to look at different strategies later on that will result in engage or enhance the clarity and the comprehension. So it's beyond comprehension. Yeah, it's more on responding on a text. Will be clear when we go through this semester. Yeah, the process, the model, the questions, and the theory. We'll go through step by step later on in short exercises. So, I'm going to give you a short instruction or lesson later on. More on the process. Yeah. So critical reading will get the deep structure of the text. So you look at the logical consistency, you look at the tone, you look at the organization of the text or a book, then other terms that appear in the text. So in this class, I will not talk about grammar. I will not talk about vocabulary as per se vocabulary, but we looking more at on the text, and the texts are in English. So when you be able to do a critical reading later, you should be able to read any text in any language critically. We got only 2 credits. Maybe you will get a bit sense of to be a critical reader, but by the end of the semester, you will not become a critical reader yet, but will accompany you during the studying at IDB. Yeah. Now, as a reader, you are not passive. You participate in an active constructor of a meaning. So you ask questions, looking at a deep structure and so on. You have to bring your prior knowledge, things that you know already. You have to bring it into the perspective of reading. If I give you a text, if you are brought up in a rural area or you're brought up in a metropolitan, it will react to a text differently. When you live in a family, that's all of academics or academician in your family, then the way you read a text will be different with somebody grew up in a business environment, things like that. Yeah. So you always bring prior knowledge. There is no right or wrong in that, but how to use your prior knowledge, and then you should be able to make prediction, yeah, and analyzing the text. So we're going to look at the title of a text, because that's the key, whether the title is important or not, whether that's formal or informal, whether that's biased or not, and so on. And we look at the author who wrote that, because every person who writes something, they always have agenda. Yeah? So think about that. Publisher, whether that's a well-known publisher, whether that's a local publisher, whether that's published in a newspaper or published in a magazine, that will make the text in nature different. So we're going to look at that throughout the semester. Yeah. For example, when we look at this one, robotic surgery offers Indonesian non-invasive alternative. It's in Jakarta Post. It's written by Novia. Then my question is, what is the text about? Is it about robotic surgery? Maybe yes, maybe no. Why I said maybe yes, maybe no? Because it's in a Jakarta Post. It's written by a journalist. Okay, and the journalist, do you think the journalists have enough knowledge about robotic surgery? Or maybe the journalist interview the doctor or expert. And then who are the expert? Indonesian expert, okay. And how many experts are there about robotic surgery? And it's published in Jakarta Post. So when you read the text later on, do not expect that you will get about robotic surgery, real robotic surgery. It's more on news. And the news may be correct or maybe incorrect. Yeah. Maybe it's important for some people, maybe it's not important. But if you're looking for robotic surgery, real text about robotic surgery that discusses the advantages of robotic surgery and so on, maybe you will not find that. Here, maybe you will find the journalist's result of an interview. Then Novia, or the journalist, try to conclude a conclusion for public. Okay, so that's the way we analyze and looking at the title, looking at the publisher, and also looking at the writer. Yeah. Take another example. This one, this magazine, Weekender, Getting Happy. So the magazine is not formal, for sure. It's weekend, leisure. It's more light. And here is talking about happiness. Yeah. Happy and unhappy. Is it going to talk about happiness indeed? Maybe not. It is just interviewing people, interviewing famous people probably, or from different background, and how to what make them happy and what make them unhappy. Yeah? So if you're going to look at articles seriously talking about getting happy because you're upset, maybe you will not find the answer. Now look at this one. IT and education for the poorest of the poor. Yeah? IT is information technology. Then how can you teach using IT if you live in the poor area? Think about that. Is it possible? Then the person here, Daniel, said constraint, possibilities, and principle. Do you think you will find the principles there, the real IT for education upon the poorest of the poor? Maybe yes, maybe no. Yeah. Look at deeper. He is a professor. Okay. So maybe it's correct because he's a professor. Director of International Literature from University of Pennsylvania. Okay. And it's published in UNESCO. So what is UNESCO? It's a report. It's a report of a success story in a place somewhere in the poorest of the poor area that we don't know. Yeah, because UNESCO, it's Usually it's a report about education, about culture, and so on. But again, it's always positive because it's UNESCO United. And also published in here, literacy.org. Org is for organization. Yeah. So it's not really scientific. Yeah. So when you look at this, you can question a lot of text. This is an example only. How we're going to work on this semester is more looking and analyzing text. Yeah. For the first meeting, we just look at the title first and look at the writer and maybe look at the structure deeper later. Okay. Thank you very much. Again, you can always contact me, kumawangkejati@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next meeting. Thank you.